Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Zoe.
And I'm Roger Berman.
And you're listening to Works for Us, where we talk to people about what works for them in their relationships and, of course, what doesn't. Today's guest may be the most stunning yet down-to-earth couple that ever was. Curtis Stone is a Michelin-starred chef who owns restaurants Maud and Gwen here in Los Angeles. He is, of course, known for TLC's Take Home Chef, Top Chef Masters, and Crime Scene Kitchen. And Lindsay Price, his beautiful wife, has lent her talents to shows like Atypical, Splitting Up Together, Blackish, and Hawaii Five-0. Curtis and Lindsay have been married since 2013 and have two adorable boys, Emerson and Hudson. Welcome to Works for Us, you two. We're very excited because, Raj and I are very lucky in that, we've realized we have some very interesting friends, very compelling friends that meaning like that we've wanted to really talk to on the podcast. And as well as we know some of our friends, we literally just always learn so much when we do this, because it's obviously focused on relationships, all different kinds of relationships. And you guys are just one of our most favorite couples. We love and adore you. So we always like to start from the beginning, because I heard from Lindsay when we first became friends, but I kind of want to hear how you met, because I feel like it's probably very cute.
Origin story, please.
Origin story.
Origin story.
Okay, well, it was a blind date. Which I should preface this by saying that neither one of us thought that we needed to be set up. And we didn't, we were doing okay.
And it was back before blind dates were kind of normal.
Right.
Like back before.
Back before internet dating.
Right, right.
Just before.
Right.
Well, I mean, there probably was internet dating, but it was probably super creepy.
It was creepy.
Yeah. By the way, I think you're probably correct. Correct about that. Before Bumble and all of that.
Yeah. But we were both, in the thick of our careers. And to be honest, I think we were both sort of putting work first at that point. Or at least I was.
Yeah.
I mean, you were probably, I think when you and I were introduced via email, I think you were on your way to Colombia or something.
Yeah, I was really enjoying my single life, but
as we do.
All good things must come to an end, Curtis.
The mutual friend that set us up was like, "I've got a blind date for you," and I was like, "I'm not going on a blind date." And then she showed me Lindsay's photo, and I was like, "I'm going on that."
And it's not blind. By the way.
No, that was not blind. I did not Google. I was sort of like, I had been in a place in my life where I knew that putting work first, it was time for me to sort of focus on more meaningful things, things that would sort of like deepen and enrich in my life. So I was looking for someone meaningful, but my ego told me I didn't need to be set up. And I remember being on the phone with her and she's like, "Look, your picker is broken. You can't pick for yourself anymore." I found him. Okay. He's not like a struggling artist. He didn't you don't have to, he's a real man. He's Australian and he's artistic in the sense that he can cook and he's a chef. But he serves, you serve, you love food, he makes food, it's perfect. I'm like, fine, I'm going, we're going. So then we set up this date. I had just moved back to LA.
Got it.
And Curtis, you were here for a while, I think, right?
Yeah, I'd been here for some time, maybe for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we make plans for this date, and then
She forgets about them.
I forget about them.
And shows up 40 minutes late.
The good 40 minutes.
Lindsay!
I know. My mind was like, I don't
Where
know
was the
why.
date? Where was the date? Where were you meeting?
So we met at Tironi.
Yeah, sure, on Third.
Good restaurant.
Yeah.
Which, where does a chef take
I mean, I don't
girl
know.
on a date, right? And it's too forward at that point to be like, I'm going to come over, I'll cook for you.
Right, of course.
I think it's In-N-Out Burger is probably his go-to move. Oh no, none of this food is going to be as good as mine. Let's just go to In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, but I literally was on the couch watching Glee or something. I was like, oh no, the date. And so it was like something out of a movie. I had to, quickly do the, the quick,
clean up.
5-minute zhuzh.
Sure.
Ran out the door in jeans and a sweater, which I wouldn't have done,
right.
I would have dressed it up a little bit. And I walk in and it was like a 90s rom-com. It was like he was sitting at the bar with that leather jacket that guys wear in the 90s.
Oh my God. He probably looked like Jake.
Like a 90210.
No, he looked like Jake from 16
No,
Candles.
like Dylan,
Totally.
like Luke Perry. And
Yeah, one of those
and
moves.
the spiky hair and the square jaw, and he's, I can kind of see him sitting at the bar with like a glass of rosé or something, and I was like, my instinct was to turn around. My instinct was, he's handsome, he's trouble, like I was used to going out with guys that were maybe a little more like not so trouble, looking like trouble,
right?
So anyway, I approached the bar.
And then the bartender says, "What would you like to drink?" And she's like, "What single malt whiskies do you have?" And I like quickly distanced myself from the glass of rosé on the bar. And I was like, "Oh, I like single malt whiskies, but I didn't like single malt whiskies." But yeah, I was totally
So what?
That's amazing. By the way,
appearance might. So basically, what you're saying is
there was physical attraction on both sides.
But no, Lindsay's more of the man, and Curtis, the tall, strapping, handsome Australian guy, is kind of like
drinking his
fluffy.
rosé at the
It's kind of a
bar.
little fluffy if you think about
Roger.
it.
getting down on my rosé spritz.
It's true. The irony is, it's really good. Yeah.
Don't judge the package.
But I love it. But that's why, by the way, I said Lindsay would hold a snake.
All right, so we heard Lindsay's impressions.
Yeah.
All right, Curtis.
Curtis, what did you think when she walked in
she
jeans and a
walked
sweater?
in jeans and a sweater. We were like, I wish she was more dressed up.
No, I don't think men think about that.
Well, that's the point. That's
Wow.
When
Whoa,
she's 40
maybe.
minutes late, I was just very happy that she showed up. I was kind of
Right.
like sitting there feeling like a total loser. My first ever blind date.
Right.
She didn't even come. Things weren't feeling good. And I might have been on my second glass of rosé, or maybe even my third. So when she came in, I was kind of like, "Oh, sweet, she's here." And if I'm being really honest, I don't even think I noticed right off the bat what she was wearing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, that's a good
You
thing.
don't have to. Yeah.
That's actually a good thing. That's a
I'm
great
the only
thing.
person that remembers what everyone wears whenever
I think that's just part of being
It's
my
just part of
husband.
Same
Rachel.
way.
It's part of
I think it's just
Rachelness.
part of being like literally attached to each other for 30 years. So I think that's just what happens, right?
It's like a scan. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't help
Lindsay has
myself.
the same, witchy.
For sure.
closed memory.
Yeah, like I'll say, "Honey, do you remember this guy we met? We were in Italy on the Amalfi Coast," and she's like,
Was I wearing a white?
"I was
skirt?
wearing a white dress." With that's how she remembers.
You know
the
what?
whole
That's the
thing.
creative brain though. It's like you have to visualize it. You have to see the whole situation and how it happened and like what everybody was wearing, what the room looked like. And then it helps you kind of like remember the whole thing.
All right, so we got this set up.
Then what?
Lindsay's late. Curtis is happy. And then what happens? You have malt whiskey. Do you close the
So-
bar down? That is the first question I have.
Well,
for you.
we have our drinks, and then it was, we were starving, so and it's sort of loud in this restaurant. It's like a lively
Right.
pizza restaurant. I don't even know if it's still there, but
Taroni?
It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of sitting across the table from each other like you would if you were on like a
Corner
job
of the
interview,
bar. Corner of the bar.
No, close. He said, and it's kind of forward, but it didn't feel that way. He was like, "Why don't you sit next to me in the booth so we can at least hear each other?" And it was the clutch move because when I
Nice.
sat next to him, during our conversation.
I feel like he's been doing that move since he took a girl to the movies back in
Wait
Australia.
a minute. So wait, for our listeners, they can't see the beautiful Curtis and Lindsay that we're looking at. I just want you to know they are in fact really beautiful. But I just want to say that Curtis just pulled the move that he might have done at dinner, which was like put his very long Australian arm that's like 7 feet long around Lindsay as he like kicked back.
As he
right?
like he was just
Stretch.
stretching, and then he happened to land his arm on Lindsay's shoulder. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't either.
He didn't actually do. There was no like actual yawn and stretch, but it was the fact that there was a moment where like I dropped being intimidated by the way he looked,
Right.
and started to feel like, oh God, I want to be close to this guy. Like there was a sweetness, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he felt the opposite of smarmy. It was just really respectful
Yeah.
and sweet.
Yeah.
And I also really liked that he was like, "Is it okay if I order for you?" So, of course, knowing that he was a chef, I was like, of course. And also, nobody had ever, to be honest, I've been such a professional and I've taken care of myself. And I, bought my first house when I was 17. Like, for someone to say, "I'll take charge,
Right.
I'll order everything," and you just sit back, it was like,
Huh?
wow, something clicked in me. And I thought it was really nice, as simple as ordering.
That's so sweet.
I love that actually.
Now, if I pulled that move, Rich, like, what are you nuts?
Well, because I'm too controlling.
Blah, 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 blah. I need this. And I'm like, you, why don't you just order for me too? And then I kick back because she's going to tell me what I'm eating anyway. So, I mean, why bother?
You can only have one in the relationship, though. That's the thing. You can really only have one of those. Okay. So hold on. So this is like 2013. How long were you together before you were like, this is it. This is the one.
No, I want to hear about the first date still because
you're still on the first date?
Did you stay up all night and talk? Like, how did this work?
So this is actually 2000. This is January 2010.
2010. You got married in 13, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
pre-Uber,
Pre-Uber, yep.
pre-dating apps. And we closed the restaurant down.
Thank you. Thank you.
I see where he's going. I'm going to
Thank
tell you why.
you.
Okay. And then what happened
Thank
when it
you.
closed down?
And then I'm like, having come from New York, I'm like, well, that's dinner. So where are we going for drinks? Like, what's next, And we go out to the sidewalk, and I'm like, where, what do you want to do? Like, where should we go? And he's like, it was so nice to meet you. Maybe we'll do it again sometime. And he just walked down the street, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like. I'm
Curtis!
So
Curtis!
Wow, he's so good at his craft. Wow, Curtis. You know girls need that.
I think he panicked. I think he panicked.
No, he got hand right away.
No, I think he panicked.
Well,
I
maybe
think
by panicking, he got hand right away. Maybe it just worked out that way.
Okay, so go on.
It worked out because I think she was a bit like, oh.
Well,
And then she was like ready for the second one.
Yeah, of course.
I actually got a taxi there, and then I sort of thought, oh, maybe she thinks he's here to get hammered. So I got a bit like, nervous. So I was like, because she drove, and I didn't want to drink and drive, so I sort of thought, anyway.
So yeah,
I got a bit in my own
He
head.
didn't want me to see him take off in his taxi, and you were doing a gal in LA, which is not a taxi town. And
Right. Oh my God, that's true, actually. Taxis in LA are so weird. Right. That's
So
right.
weird.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All
It's
right,
like a thing.
so Curtis is smooth. He made her want
That
more.
was
So
good.
he had a second date and then a third and all that good stuff.
Well, the reason that Roger was getting at that is what we've realized with the most successful couples that we have interviewed over the last year on the podcast. The common thread is that first date that very often is by accident or whatever, that literally doesn't end. It's sort of like you
don't
close
want-
down the bar, you close
don't
down the
want it to
restaurant.
end. And typically, actually, the first date, it's like nobody fools around. It's not like that. It's like all of a sudden you're like,
It's just
wait,
talking and like
I really want to know this person. Everything else fades away. And that's sort of what we've seen with people who are together, 20,
Ourselves
30, 40
included.
years. It's always like that.
it's like a happy accident.
It's like you don't want to go for the physicality because you don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
If that makes
Right.
sense.
You
Like,
know this is going to
you
go
know this
beyond
could
a
be
first
beyond
date.
that, so it's like the physicality is like secondary versus if
Yeah.
it's not real, like physicality is like, hey, might as well have a good time. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
For sure. For
So
sure.
it's
The second
interesting.
date was like fireworks, Roger. It was like 4th of July.
100%. Couldn't walk the next day. It was horrible news. Horrible news. Horrible news.
I actually thought this is what's so funny. He was so respectful and so like he looked so alpha. He is so alpha that I thought for sure, he was going to have that bravado in the way that he approached like our first kiss or whatever.
Right.
But he's actually, contrary to what everyone believes, he's so sensitive. He's probably the most sensitive person that I've ever known.
Oh no, I agree with that. When I met Curtis, I was like, he's like this big, giant teddy bear. I just want to give this like hug to, and
I agree.
like even Roger wants to give you a bear hug, Curtis. But like, but I just feel like you're such like a that was me. I just feel like you are this like gentle giant kind of person. So I think Lindsay, you're 100% right. He's like this tall, strappy. Wait, he's gonna be this total dude, and he's gonna play it so cool. And then he's like, wait, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Exactly.
And Lindsay, you're badass. So it's like also it's a little intimidating, I think, too, because
Right.
your whole vibe, and I'm sure back then, even probably more so because you weren't even like open to like, okay, I'm down to have this like relationship. Now you were probably a little bit like,
So
Lindsay badass.
Intimidating.
let's see if this the theme continues. So Curtis, I'm imagining that you proposed to Lindsay.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, being a sensitive man such as yourself, I imagine the planning and the engagement was second to none. Am I correct?
Well, we went to Italy and
Starts out nice.
starts out nice. We went to the Amalfi Coast.
The best
Starts
place
out
ever.
even nicer.
I got her ring in London from someone I had worked with in the pub, a guy that knows diamonds. So like put a bit of work into the ring. Not a bit, I put a lot of work into it. And then I thought to myself, I don't want it to feel like that. Because, I mean, as a restaurateur, I've seen so many engagements in my life.
I'm
and
so
most of them
cheesy.
make me cringe.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I want it to be organic. Like,
Yeah.
just it should
Yeah.
happen when it's meant to happen.
Yeah.
Which in hindsight was a giant mistake because what I ended up doing was wandering around Naples and then
With the
Amalfi
ring, like,
Coast
when am I
because-
going to do it? When am I going to... Like that. It was like this. It was like the final exam that wouldn't end.
Right, like firstly, you've got something really valuable in your pocket you might lose. That's
I had the
first
same
thing.
experience on a bus.
Yeah, and then you have this bulging like box in your pocket, which
Well,
you're trying
a
to like
second
hide all the
bulge.
time.
A second bulge.
Ah,
Let's just be
Roger!
clear. Sorry.
Like,
Sorry. I just had to
yelled
say
in the
that.
lily, and then and then you're also constantly looking for like
The
is this
perfect
the
spot,
moment?
right.
Is this the spot? Like you're super anxious and weird, you know. So anyway, I walked around with it for about 3 or 4 days, and then I think on the 4th day, I waited until we had a quiet moment on a balcony in our hotel room, and I just did it.
Yeah.
And was it perfect?
It was really
It was
sweet. It was
perfect.
perfect. Look, the
That's all
truth
you
is,
need.
We met in January 2010. We bought a house, moved in together, and had a baby by November 2011.
Right.
Like,
Stop
was all
it.
So fast.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. And
Oh, right. Because you got married in 13 and Hudson's, if I do the math.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, we did things like in the reverse. And for Curtis, probably it's like,
Scandalous.
you know, for me, like
I love
I
it.
grew up in a really traditional family.
Yes.
So it was always like, there's a certain order to this. And also, by the way, it makes perfect sense that you follow this order because when you have kids, it becomes all about the kids. And,
Right.
you know, that time as a couple is so important. So we had Hudson, which we were overjoyed about, but it was backwards. So the engagement came after. And
Got it.
I remember being in the hospital room, giving birth to Hudson, knowing that we were going to be together, but I did have a feeling like, oh God, like,
Right.
is this
Sure.
actually gonna be,
There's that
you
thing.
know?
There's that thing.
Yeah.
There's that
Right.
thing.
And from the guy's perspective, you're like, I don't want her to feel like I'm proposing just because.
Right. Of
you know,
course.
I have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when she's pregnant, you're like, she probably doesn't get married while she's pregnant.
Right.
So maybe I'll
No,
wait
you
a little
don't.
bit. You know, like you're trying to
Yep.
figure it out.
No,
but-
it's interesting.
Then also, nobody loves a surprise more than Curtis. So he wanted it to be a surprise. So he was trying to like always, you know, be super sneaky about things. But when we went to Italy, I think I had gotten to, and Hud was like 6 or 7 months old, but he was with us on this trip.
Yeah.
So we literally we had this beautiful trip together, and I had kind of relaxed into this place of like, this
What
is just
happens,
who
what
we
happens.
are,
Right,
you know?
right,
Like,
right.
and it's great, and
Sure.
I love this man, and it was good that he waited so long, you know, or to that moment to do this because it was something totally separate, and we were peaceful about it, you know. And so Hud was asleep in the room. We were on the balcony.
See, I love that.
Yeah, and he wrote me this letter, which I will never forget.
It's so interesting, you guys, because I also think coming up in LA, I mean, none of us were like born and raised here. Although, Lindsay, were you born and raised here? No.
I was born here, but kind of went back and forth between here and New York.
Okay.
Life,
So
yeah.
I think the thing is, I think in the iteration of life that we're in, I don't think there's a rule book. I don't think that anything is normal. Roger and I would be the most kind of like, okay, got married in their 20s, we waited 18 years to have kids. So, I mean, you know, we definitely did our things reverse, kind of. But I think there's no rule book. And I think it's about following what feels right in the moment. And I also like that so many of my friends, you can't plan it. They've had 2 kids before they're married. They don't, it doesn't, I have a friend with 3 different dads and 3 different kids. You know, it just happens. It's like, it is what it is. I don't think there's the rule book. I think we've seen the rule book doesn't always work for everybody. So I think whatever your playbook is that is followed, it's meant to be that way. And you know what I mean? I don't think there's a right, wrong. And I think tradition is tradition. I think it's there for certain reasons, but I also think in the world that we live in and every year that passes and as our kids grow up, I think those rule books are just going to keep evolving and changing,
Agreed. Yeah.
And I love that. And Hudson's the coolest kid ever. I love that boy. They are the best boys. Honestly, the best boys ever.
So did you have a wedding? Like a big wedding?
We did, yeah. So, well, you can.
We did. I asked Lindsay's dad before I proposed whether I was allowed, and he gave me his permission, which was nice.
Smart.
And then he actually he married us in Mallorca. We went to Spain and got married in this gorgeous house, and we had like 100 of our best friends.
Oh my God.
Flying, and it was a week extravaganza. It was pretty special.
It was nice. Curtis decided to make the cake.
Of course he did.
And of course he did.
Of course he did.
The food too.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
I was about to ask, like, what happens when you cater Curtis's wedding? Like, I would never give you anything to eat ever. I just wouldn't. That's so stressful. It's like people see me. They're like, don't look at what I'm wearing. I'm like, I haven't. I'm looking at your face. I swear. Like, I'm not judging you. I mean, it's like, I can't even imagine.
No, I can count on one hand the amount of times we've been invited to someone's house for dinner.
Yeah.
One hand. Like, it's like we've got like,
oh my
4
God, these
people.
poor people. We're going to invite them over.
Never.
Please, can we? No, actually, Rachel, the boys say that you're the best cook.
But not for Curtis. But not for Curtis.
I was like, really? What's she make?
Yeah.
I was impressed.
So does that mean?
Yeah, no, Lindsay used to get invited to dinner parties all the time before we met. Now.
Yeah, the baggage. Yeah, the baggage. I get it. Hey,
you guys are the cutest.
Hold on. So what? So are you so now you're from Australia? How does that work? Like your parents there? Are they like what families there? How do they like see the kids? Kids go there for the summer, which is like the winter. Like how does this work?
That's right. Yeah, we used to go. Obviously, we haven't for a couple of years, but we used to try and get there once a year or every other year, and. FaceTime. It's a bummer. It's hard.
It's the hardest. Our friend from Australia, our friend Sam, they're in Australia now, and they just went, I think, first time in 2 years. They haven't seen his family, and they had a new baby. It's crazy.
But I also feel like Aussies, especially, they're like, oh, it's just another flight. Like, what? They're like, no problem. They're used to going like 24 hours to go to Europe or whatever. It's like everything's like a schlep. So let them schlep a little, it's fine. They like it. Yeah. And let them come here. It's easy.
Did you guys always know that you wanted to have kids? Did you talk about it? Did you think about it? I know you had Hudson early, but were you like, okay, I know we want more. I know we want to be parents, because you're both work really, really hard. Both of you.
To be honest, we haven't spoken about it a ton.
No, we did. Do you remember our flight?
Oh, you're going to tell that?
Yeah, I have to tell it. Okay, listen. Here's the truth is, when we first met, we went from like, we were so super attracted to each other, and we had the best time. We went out all the time. We stayed up to the middle of the night,
it's the best,
dancing in his kitchen and like just eating food, and it was so great. And then he surprised me. He's like, I'm going to take you on a trip. And we're on this plane. It's like our first trip somewhere. And we were flying from LA to Miami, and then we were going on to Turks and Caicos. And somewhere over between Miami and Turks and Caicos, he said to me, we were talking about a friend of his who was like 32 and going to break up with her boyfriend because he didn't want to have kids. And I said, well, what do you think of that? And he's like, well, if he doesn't want to have kids, like they're not meant to be together. And I said, do you want to have kids? He said, no, I'm not really, I don't want kids. Like, I don't even know if I really believe in marriage. And I'm sitting there like, pressing the call button. I'm like, the oxygen machine. That's right. Because I knew at that point that I really wanted to have them. And it wasn't even really hit me until that stage in my life.
Curtis, that's a zinger.
You're such a disappointment, Curtis. I was really pro Curtis this whole time. Now I don't know.
I'm even mad at myself right now.
I mean, can you
because
imagine,
you're like, by the
no,
way,
but can you imagine your life without your kids? Right?
No,
That's the thing.
no.
It's like they're the best,
and also,
so.
I also would like to say for our listeners, like, he's like a super dad too. He's like, when he's not working, he's like surfing with his kids. He's like cooking for them, even though one is a picky eater, like my son, and like Hudson's like my older son, who doesn't stop eating and loves food. The more, the better, and wants to try new things all the time. And I think it's I don't know. I've seen you as a dad. I mean, you're an incredible dad. But I think, listen, I think there's these. I've always been this like mama. I've always been a mama to everyone in my life, and I always knew I was going to have kids. But there I was. I woke up at like.
She's not good at math, though.
I just
like,
life was going too fast.
Mathematically, you got to do it if you want kids. I do want kids. Well, mathematically, you got to have kids.
And then Sky was like a happy accident, and then all of a sudden, I wished I had 4. I was like, I thought I was having 1, and then I was like, now I wish I had 4. So
me too. As soon as we had, I could have kept going.
Yeah, 100%. That's what
I would
happened.
like
Every now
4.
and then I still try, like
Yeah.
I'm still like,
Yeah.
babe, just give me one more.
Yeah.
Like, are you crazy?
Lindsay's like, are you okay?
Yeah, everything. Like once he's in, he's like, let's get 2 dogs. Let's go. Let's go.
Should we mention the dogs? Because that's like having 4 children. They're as tall as Curtis, standing up on the back legs.
Dogs of all time.
They are the largest dogs of all time, so you guys. Like, really? How much do they weigh?
Yeah, they're like
They're getting
like,
close to 100.
It's really circus around here. I'm not. They're all male.
They're super embarrassing dogs. So I'm not going to lie. They're golden doodles, right? But I mean, I think we got gypped because they're pretty much poodles.
They're just like standard. They're like Barbie and Ken poodles, essentially. Imagine Curtis walking them down.
There's not a lot of golden in them, is what you're saying.
Great grandfather's aunt might have been related somehow with friends with a golden, but there's not much golden in our poodle. And you can imagine me trying to walk these 2 fluffy poodles.
I'm pretty sure, Curtis, you're the only one that can walk these dogs, actually.
My God.
Can you imagine me walking those dogs?
They'll walk you.
They would literally, I'd go flying across the street and
You
like
could actually ride them.
100%. Cure a Tour is the premier shopping membership curated by me, Rachel Zoe. As a member, you'll be able to shop like I'm right by your side with exclusive access to hundreds of pre-approved, by yours truly, products from clean beauty to glamorous accessories and way beyond. By the most coveted, emerging, and established brands for up to 60% off. Shop favorites like Gucci, Kate Spade New York, Missoni Home, Marc Jacobs Beauty, and many, many more. Entry to the Curator world of insider-only access and discounts is only $9.99 per month, but you'll earn $120 in rewards to spend throughout the year.
Wait a second. Rachel, what did you just say?
Actually, you spend $9.99 per month, but you'll earn $120 in rewards to spend throughout the year.
But $9.99 times 10 is only $120, but you get $120 in credit?
I don't know. Don't ask me.
How does that even work? Isn't this your business?
Don't ask me any math.
Sounds like it's too good of a deal.
Sounds like you're doing math. Members also unlock even more promotions in our partnership platform that can save you up to $700 in products and services. As our holiday gift to you, we're offering your first month of membership for free. Yes, for free when you sign up on Curator.com through January 15th. That's CURATEUR. Joining is simple. The membership is instantly added to your cart once you've selected a product, and there's no code needed.
Okay, Rachel, I don't understand how they're getting $120 for $120 and then they get other things on top of that. Like,
It's
did
actually
you guys
endless
go over
things.
this with the team?
It
Like,
doesn't
is
really
this-
matter. I'm just actually trying to style as many women as I possibly can, and I want them to join the Curator world. So this is how I'm doing it: $9.99 a month. That's it.
Okay.
Benefits are endless. And if you sign up before January 15th, your first month is free. Yes, free.
So they don't need a code. They just go to Curator.com
Yep.
and they spend $9.99 and get $10 in credit.
Yep. Cure.
So it doesn't really cost anything then.
Nope.
Well, then how's it a business?
I don't know. You're actually making money for shopping. So
Okay.
what do you want me to tell you?
All right. Well, we hope you check it out, and I hope we don't go bankrupt. But so just going back to food real quick. So, Lindsay, do you ever cook?
So growing up in
Look at Curtis.
We're getting a no nod.
We're getting a shake.
We're
A head
getting a no
shake.
nod.
Here's what I'll tell you. I grew up on sets, you know what I mean? And like when I met Curtis, I always tell people like I had a bottle of champagne and like a thing of takeout or something from Whole Foods in the fridge. Like, and also, you know, I went out to eat and I was super social. I was not in the home very often.
Right. That's fair.
You know, when you first start dating someone, you go over their house and you kind of have a peek in their fridge when they've got the bathroom.
Who does that?
Like,
Nobody does that.
Like, what's going on in here, you know? And I remember peeking in there the first time and seeing like some guacamole and some salsa and a bottle of champagne and, you know, the stuff you get from Trader Joe's. You know, that you can just snack on. And then I was back there like 2 weeks later and she went to the bathroom and I thought, I wonder what's happening now. So I had another look. Same stuff. Like the avocado might have gone a little brown on the top, but, you know, and I was like, I don't know if she eats or if she doesn't. Like, this is back before Postmates was like readily available. But yeah, she was more a snacker than
Right. She's like M&M's or like trail mix. What are you talking about?
Right.
She needed me. That's what she needed. She needed my help.
She did.
Then listen to this. Like early on, I was like, I'm going to cook for him. I want to.
Are you okay, Lindsay?
So
are you okay?
I just no. I think I just wanted to show him that like
that you could do it.
That I could. And I decided to make coq au vin, which is so stupid.
Really?
And
you actually like what? What about like a Milanese? That would have been easier.
Would have been much easier, but for me, I was like, if I follow the directions, I can do it. You know, like it's much like acting. You take the pieces of the thing and you take your time.
Different.
So then my friend came in. She's like, "Oh my god, those little onions! You know, the tiny little onions that I'd never seen before. What are they called?
The pearl onions, the little pearl ones.
I didn't take the skins off, so she was pulling them out, and we were like quickly taking the skins off in the kitchen. Yeah, and you put it into a sandwich roll. I think that night that it was delicious.
Oh, I don't know anyone that puts things in a sandwich roll.
Everything needs to be in a sandwich.
He does. Everything ends up in it. If it's past, if you eat it for a night, past, if he goes for it again 2 hours later, it's in a sandwich roll. The next day, it's in everything.
Typically in a sandwich when I'm eating it as well. But I also find that most things need more crunch. So I'm a big fan of
or a carb.
Chips. Like I need like some sort of carbohydrate chips type substance or pretzel in my sandwiches to get that proper crunch.
Curtis is like, you're killing myself.
You might actually have like a really sophisticated palate because I'm always hearing words like crunch and.
No, he does. Roger does. That's where Skylar gets it from. It's not from me.
Yeah,
not from me.
Roger
would be the best customer.
I like to eat.
He thinks about food.
I already thought about.
He's also a New York Jew, so he thinks about the next meal while he's eating the current meal. So what are we doing? You know,
like for me, I like Asian a lot, Asian food, and so I'm like, you know, obviously Chinese on Sundays, and then you got to just work around the other things. Like when's a good night to throw some Thai food in there, you know, or maybe we just do soup dumplings, which isn't really Chinese. It's more of like another situation. So
it's its own thing.
Yeah. So these are things I think about often.
Okay, so I want to go into some of my favorite things really quick. So here's the thing, you guys. You've been together now 11 plus years, right? Mm-hmm. You're obviously madly in love. I've seen you guys together. You have a beautiful relationship. I think one of the things we really like to kind of delve into is like, what do you think is the like magic? Like, what is your secret sauce? What is the thing that makes it work? And the reason we started doing this podcast was because we got asked like 10 times a day, how on earth does this work? You're together 30 years, you parent together, you work together, you live together, you like every single thing we do together. There really isn't a lot of separation. And I don't know. Somehow it works for us.
Works for us.
It works for us.
So the idea is what works for you.
So I think we want to understand, why do you think your relationship works so beautifully? Like, what is the thing that you could share with people? Like, this is why we work. You know.
Come on, baby, give it to me.
I feel like she's going to have a great answer for some reason.
Guys,
two things came to mind immediately. The first one was probably your cliche, but like the real deal is the communication.
Yeah.
Which is really hard because, to be honest, I grew up in a family that nobody yelled, nobody maybe sometimes didn't talk about, they didn't talk about things that they should have. But we were very verbal about everything. And obviously, with my work, I'm always like, how do you feel about that? Like, I'm all about feeling.
Right.
Kind of where Curtis grew up, Australian culture, as much as it seems like they would be like us, it's a very different culture. So, and it's sarcastic and it's a little bit brash and sometimes he'll yell and our communication was not easy. I'm telling you, like today it's like we're speaking different languages and it can take us down really fast.
Right.
So we had to find our way of communicating with each other and allowing the other person to have the space to be who they are.
Right.
You can't change who someone is in the way that they express themselves or process emotions or whatever. So that's the first thing. But the second thing, which actually is probably more important for us, is to have the sense of humor. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not that bad. Like, you got to laugh about stuff.
Yes.
You have to find joy in like the quirks of your partner. You need to lovingly tease them or give them the space to like mess up or be, like I'm terrible with schedule and details and it drives him crazy, but he's gotten himself to the place where he's like, he can expect it and tease me about it.
Right.
And like,
I mean, it couldn't get any worse.
Yes.
Like that's how far it's gotten. When you kind of like, I must hear her 3 times a day. Oh, today. Okay, yeah, look, let me call you right back. Yes, no, I do remember. And I'm like, oh my God, this poor girl. She makes so many plans because she's such a good human being, but she can't keep a track of them. And it's adorable to me, baby. It really is.
I know.
Especially when I'm just standing on a street corner somewhere thinking, I don't think she's going to come. I don't think she's remembered this one.
Well, but you should have known what you were getting into the first night.
Right.
It's your fault.
Right. That was
Basically
it, right?
your fault. She didn't change. She didn't change.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
You know what? She's the funniest person I know. She makes me laugh all the time. And hopefully I make you laugh once in a while. So I think that we laugh a lot. That's
so
awesome.
important.
But
so important.
It is.
So important.
Yeah.
Because life gets very real. Life gets very real. And I would say in the last few years, even more so. And I think as working parents and career-driven parents and very hands-on parents, I think life gets real. And I think there's just those moments where like, you just have to laugh through things sometimes because it's so insane. It's almost like it just gets you through it. Like you just sort of look at each other like I'm losing my mind. Okay, me too. Okay, let's figure out how to deal with it.
I think the dysfunction is part of the fun, though.
It is. What is normal, you guys?
Chaos,
what is normal? I don't know.
The rushing and it's just sort of.
I mean,
funny.
Lindsay's an actor. You're a chef. You're from Australia. You're from New York and LA. Like, of course, there's going to be chaos. Of course, there's going to be chaos. We have chaos all the time. We live in chaos.
And as much as we don't align on some things, I think where we do come together is we're just good people. I know that sounds really arrogant.
No. We say it all the time.
At Lindsay's core, she's an amazing human being. And it doesn't matter if she's your best friend or someone she's just run into at the airport.
It's true.
She has genuine love and care for human beings, and she's a beautiful soul. And to me, it's so nice to be around someone like that.
How does it feel to be married to someone like that?
Ow! No, but you know what, Curtis? We actually say the same thing all the time because Roger and I are actually very different. We approach things so differently, but ultimately at our core, we're exactly the same. Same values, the way we treat people, the way we think about people, the way the same things matter to us ultimately, right? Like how you parent, what you teach your kids, the values, your morals, trust, honesty, all of those things. And I think ultimately, it doesn't matter how different you are. I actually think that's what makes relationships actually work. Because if you're too much alike, you don't want to be married to yourself. I certainly do not want to be married to myself.
Who could?
God. That's my point. Right. So I think that's why it works too. If you actually outside looking in, it actually does work. You guys make perfect sense to me. Totally unbiased.
All right, I think we should do one more question and then move on with with our newlywed game. Hey,
that's going to be fun with them.
Yeah, I think so. So 20 years from now, what are we doing? Are you guys in LA? Like, what's happening?
Australia.
Yeah. Well, where's the? Maybe.
What's the dream?
Or maybe you don't talk about it. But
you know what?
What are you thinking in 20 years?
We'd probably both love to be a little on the road, and have a couple of homes, a couple of places we call home. Mm-hmm. Of course, for me, Australia's close to my heart, and Linz likes it out there as well.
That's so fun.
We love LA. Sometimes we hate LA.
Of course.
Sometimes we love, we have that roller coaster ride.
Of course.
With it. We love the East Coast. We love Europe. I think if we could bounce around in 20 years and we'll follow our kids around.
Yeah.
We love them, and wherever they are, we'll just show up.
They'll be like, oh, mom and dad bought a house next door.
No, they're going to love it. They're boys. Don't forget. They want us near them.
Not if their wife.
Lindsay?
Not if their wife doesn't.
We have to have our
you.
own conversations through this process.
We'll talk offline.
You gotta be nice
for
to
sure.
the wife. You gotta be nice to the wife.
Oh, yeah.
Rachel.
I think we definitely want to have the freedom to, travel. I mean, the truth is, like, through the pandemic, it was the first time that we were ever in the same home day after day, which I'm sure all the couples you talk to say the same thing.
Yep.
And for us, it was like, okay, we actually really like being together.
Yes.
Even if we don't get breaks from one another,
yes.
this is good.
Yep.
So you can kind of picture what the future would look like when it's just the kids are out of the house and, work isn't as insane.
Yeah.
But right now, work is insane.
Insane.
So
Oh my God.
We love the idea
Insane.
of getting to that place where hopefully not right now, but
Be more simple.
Yeah.
Rachel wants to make Juliana Beach.
Like in the south of France. That's what I want to do.
Perfect. Okay, I'll see you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Curtis will make us some food, and I'll be late to dinner.
And Roger will supply everyone with everything they need.
Yes.
He'll make sure everyone's warm and taken care of and providing.
I'm a big provider.
The things he provides.
Bring
I'm a
the
provider.
rolls.
Exactly.
I like this sandwich.
Exactly.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, so this is actually funny, you guys. We're just going to ask you like 3 funny questions where Curtis, you answer for Lindsay, Lindsay, you answer for Curtis. So this is actually, some of these are even more funny just because of what you guys do. Okay. All right, Lindsay, what would Curtis's last meal be on Earth?
It would start with it's a really hard one. Okay, it would start with something like from home, like Vegemite on toast with butter.
Okay.
Right, just basic, and then it would go into probably some sort of caviar situation.
Okay.
We'll go really nice, and then crab. Like he's a crab guy, so like fresh crab, right? A crab maybe with like a curry. Yeah. And then it would end with something very, very chocolatey, like a chocolate ganache cake or like souffle or something.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that.
Look at him. He's so excited.
With a bottle of Penfolds Grange, big one. No?
She got the wine pairing all wrong, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah, I didn't pair the wine.
Why would you want red with all that crab? But it's okay.
You're right. I was just picturing your favorite things.
Oh,
Let's go wagyu. Let's go with some kind of steak. Or no, lamb.
You're too adorable.
I don't know.
It's fine.
you are the
Basically,
cutest. But wait, I want to hear Curtis's.
I know. We realize this. Curtis likes food. Okay.
Okay, so
Lindsay.
Curtis, what's Lindsay's last meal on Earth that you're making?
Believe it or not, I think she just described it.
My last meal.
What she described as my last meal was actually hers.
So I know what
okay.
to send you for Christmas then,
That's
Lindsay. I know what to
amazing.
send you.
Mine is the
Tin of
Vegemite
caviar.
part.
Right,
Tin of
caviar.
She's a
Caviar.
caviar girl. I got it. Champagne in the fridge.
I love this.
An old vintage champagne with lots of caviar, big tin, and definitely some crab or maybe lobster. She loves lobster, little roasted lobster.
What would you eat, though? What would it be?
I would probably eat white truffles.
Oh, truffle.
Yeah.
Truffles.
I know
As
that upsets some people, but bad luck.
God, you got to cook for my dad. They'd be so happy. Those are his like 2 favorite things. Oh my God. Okay, you go.
I don't know if this is apropos to what you actually do, but Lindsay, what's Curtis's go-to karaoke song?
Oh, God, we just talked about this. We just talked about this.
You guys talk about this?
They do.
Yeah.
She's very intellectual.
Like, why?
She just does because she wants to know.
Because you knew. Hold on. Did you do
She's like an intellectual actor.
No, but was she like, oh, it's like Jeopardy. Let's study for the questions.
Probably. They had
us?
like a year-long Monopoly game going on the living room table. That was like
Yeah,
with like properties. We never get to the properties. No one can focus that long.
that's right. I feel like it's, like this is really upsetting me, but it's meatloaf. It's something meatloaf.
That's such a big karaoke song, by the way,
I won't
Meatloaf.
do anything.
Yeah,
But I won't do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
One?
Bad out of hell.
But, oh,
Bat out of hell.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What's
I'm
Lindsay's?
a terrible singer. You don't want to.
So is Roger.
And by the way, isn't
So-
that song like 11 minutes long?
Right.
is it really?
Like, so we have to listen to Curtis just sing badly for 11 minutes straight.
You did not want to hear me sing.
Pick a shorter song, Curtis. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Lindsay's mum said to me not that long ago, I was like, whistling in the kitchen to some music. And she sort of like cringed a little and she looked at me and she's like, can you whistle in tune? Even my whistling is out of tune. That's tone deaf.
And by the way, Lindsay probably has the voice of an angel, right?
Like a song.
Oh my God.
100%. She's a songbird.
Oh my God. I could tell.
So for her, it's actually not karaoke. It's actually just she sings a song.
I think her karaoke song for right now, I don't know.
It's like Whitney Houston.
It should be. It'd be Whitney, or it might be that Lady Gaga song.
Oh my God. The one with Bradley Cooper? The one with Bradley
Why
Cooper?
don't you just knock a couple of bars out for us?
Lindsay, sing a verse, sing something.
Sing
No.
Lindsay.
Listen, I sing for my kids every night and I sing in the shower. But I don't think I would.
Well, you guys, she actually released a CD. So listen to me. She released a bunch of songs. She's a songwriter, and you can go and find her music.
Wait, is that really true, Curtis?
Oh my God.
Lindsay, why did you know this?
Curtis, where can
So
we
you
find-
guys, she's like
where
an
can we
amazing
find
singer.
such
Lindsay,
music?
just sing something.
What
Just
would the
sing
album be
something.
called? We have to do it.
Hit something. Sing me something as we kick off for like
What's
the.
album called?
The album. I'm still wedding right now. I took a little hiatus from acting and I wrote like 20 songs.
Of course you
like,
did.
in a year.
Of course you did.
And then I recorded an EP. There's like 5. It's called Someone Like Me. You can find it on iTunes. I'm like,
This is a source of
No, by the way, you guys, this is
embarrassment.
This is a very
Oh
organic.
my
Wait, this is. I just would like our listeners to know this is a very organic plug because we've been friends a long time. I actually didn't know this because she's like a closet singer apparently, but not because she actually has, albums out. So
the kids found her on Spotify and they've told all their mates, and she is mortified because all these mums are calling her from school being like, I didn't know you had an album out and we found it on Spotify.
Roger's pulling it up on his phone right now.
Of course, I'm looking for it,
Roger.
but I
Oh
don't
my God.
see. It's someone like me.
Okay. It's obscure because I sold like 4.
You are going to sell more
We're gonna
now.
sell-
We're going to
no,
sell more now
at
because then I'm plugging it when we
at
hang
least
up
the
too.
5th.
Someone like me.
Oh
Okay.
my God, that's hilarious.
Okay, and also now I'm going to make
my
Lindsay sing when I see
cousin's
her.
best friend's like, Mrs. Stone, you've got like 1,100 hits on Spotify or something.
That's amazing.
I don't think it is though, Rach. I think it's actually not amazing at all.
I think Justin.
Do you know what? I'm
Justin
here to
Bieber
say
had
it's
3
amazing.
billion, I think,
I'm
his
here to
first
say
day.
you're going to be opening for. Oh, okay.
It's on Amazon Music.
Okay.
It's not an
okay.
Apple Music. As I
Okay,
as
we're
I
gonna
see
do it.
it.
Okay. All right. So last one. Okay, because I think this is very appropriate. Who will be the most hungover after a wedding, Lindsay or Curtis?
Me.
Lindsay. It doesn't mean she drank the most, mind you. But
Well, she's significantly smaller than you, Curtis. In all fairness.
Yeah. I can.
Curtis has had a lot
Back it away.
more years
A
of,
lot of experience.
in the nightclubs of London and whatnot, however you do it.
Wait, can I ask one more thing, you guys? I have one more because it's my favorite, and I can't leave you guys without because I actually think there will be funny answers to this. Curtis, what would Lindsay get arrested for if she got arrested? We've had some very funny answers to these questions.
I have one more question too.
Oh no.
No
Furniture?
From here. No.
She's such a good girl. I can't think of what she'd get arrested for.
Really?
It could be something funny though.
I mean,
Is she a horrific driver?
I was going to say texting while driving.
No, I think she would
be
get
a possibility.
arrested. Contempt of court for forgetting a court date.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
right.
you're right.
You're right.
Definitely contempt of
For
court.
sure.
Jury duty. Have you ever gone to jury
Yeah.
duty? Are they chasing you down?
What's Curtis getting arrested for, Lindsay?
Roger, let's
I
not
know.
talk
She's
about
like, don't
jury
talk
duty.
about jury duty. She's scared.
Yeah.
See, I could tell where this is going.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sweating.
Shh.
Let's talk about Curtis. Curtis would for sure get arrested for like a bar fight.
I would.
Like
Really?
Really?
So you really are that like strappy dude in the bar that like
violent stuff.
I love. Meanwhile, Australians are like the most peaceful, kind, funny, hilarious
they're
population.
Not. It was a prison, Rachel.
Oh
No,
God,
like
stop!
They want to fight. They're like a little like
It's
I
it's
love my
phenomenal.
Aussies. My Aussies are like the sweetest, mushiest people. They're so friendly.
Until they
And you
wanna
know what
fight.
they say? In all the times I've been to Australia, they always go, "I'm sorry, we're so far away. We're so like." They apologize right away for being
Wow.
so far from everything. Like, don't apologize. This is a beautiful
funny.
place.
It's pretty funny.
I love it
because
there.
they were sent there as
Yeah,
criminals.
that's why I'm saying
That's
it was
what
a
they're sorry for.
prison.
Yeah.
That's why they fight. It's in their
And I
blood.
love them. I'm just saying I love Aussies.
Okay, so I think this is an interesting question.
And then
only
we're really letting you go.
Only because you're an actress and it could cause
Actor.
Well, oh, sorry. What do they call people?
Actor.
What's the
Technically,
What's a
you're-
non-binary way to call people these days? Like, isn't
You're an actor.
You're supposed to say actor because you don't say
Correct.
you say doctor. You don't say doctress.
Interesting?
Right.
But they still
Still-
have best actor.
It's still
Actor.
best
You
actress
do have
award.
to differentiate.
No.
Don't you have
Yeah,
best
I think
actress?
the whole thing.
And the Oscars is it
No,
best
I think I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's actress for sure.
It is.
I'm fine with actress.
or best actor that happens to.
But I think technically now I just
associate
call
as a
all my
female?
friends that act actor. Period.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Regardless of the technicalities, if someone was going to do the biopic on you, Lindsay, and Curtis, I'm asking you this question. Lindsay can't play herself. Ooh, this is going to get him in so much trouble. Who would play Lindsay?
Such a good one for them.
Oh,
That's
my
why I asked it.
goodness. Okay, now
You're going to get in a lot of trouble. It better be someone
not,
so hot. Oh my God. It's hard to find because she's kind of hot.
Okay.
I'm not good with actors, with people's names, but let me just describe who this person needs to be.
Okay.
And then you can help me find her. She's got to be gorgeous, right? She's got to be hilarious. She could be deep and complex, super sensitive. She's got to sing like an angel, but doesn't want anyone to hear her.
Wait, it's her?
It's me.
I mean,
No.
You got to play yourself, Linz.
Katherine Heigl.
Oh, no.
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 So,
He has a crush on, I think.
you know what? If
He
I
has a
look her up,
crush on-
I'm thinking.
This is I knew this question would be disaster. That's why I asked.
See,
it.
I know who could play Curtis though, Linz.
Lindsay's question.
No, yeah.
Lindsay.
No, I want to see if she agrees with me.
Lindsay, who's
I'm
all
not gonna say it. I'm
Curtis,
letting
you
Lindsay
you
say it.
failed at this question. We're moving on. Lindsay, what about Curtis? Who's going to play him in his own story?
He's a bit easier.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, because you either get someone who has an Aussie accent or someone who's actually an Aussie.
Isn't it like those
no,
brother?
Katherine Heigl. I just looked her up. That's not who I was thinking of.
I know.
I know.
I kind of
That's
assumed
why I
that.
said that's probably
He
not the
has
one.
he doesn't
Sorry.
know who anybody is.
It's okay, which is
Yeah,
charming.
that's all right.
It's
Yeah,
charming.
it is charming. He's like, who's that actress?
By the way, Curtis,
Sure.
Roger doesn't either.
I don't know anybody.
Roger doesn't either.
I'm
Unless
always
he
like-
knows them personally,
I'm
he has
always
no
like-
idea.
All these fancy people.
No, but I'm always like,
I'm
I'm always like, well, do they know me?
No.
I'm like, well, do I know them? I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
with you.
Wait,
Okay, so to answer this question, it's hard because he's.
Lindsay, doesn't it have to be those tall, gorgeous Aussie brothers?
What?
Hemsworth.
You're supposed to say
Thank
Chris
you, Hemsworth.
Lindsay,
Hemsworth.
it was a
Hemsworth.
softball.
That was like,
a
even I knew that
softball.
one, Linz.
Even I knew that.
It's
It's got to be a Hemsworth.
One of the Hemsworth. Doesn't matter. They're both
We
gorgeous.
failed
Who
this one.
cares?
I
That's
think
all
the
right.
one that plays Thor. That's the one.
Yeah, he's got like a Thor vibe
That's crazy.
because he's tall
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
like, man.
Oh God, 100%.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's like-
really good casting.
Yeah. He was
All
a bit
right.
easier. He's a little less challenging. No offense, Curtis.
I don't know. Standardized tests. I don't know how they would have done.
Well, you guys, we honestly love you both so much. You guys are honestly one of our absolute most favorite couples. We
Oh, and
fell
I'm
in love at first sight. We met through our kids, funny enough, through like mutual friends. And you guys are just a beautiful family. We love you. And I don't know. We just
And
love
look,
you all
look,
around.
You might be added to our dinner guest list. I'm taking names. I'm taking names.
I
for a
am
guest
not
list.
cooking for Curtis. So
No,
whatever
we're
it
catered.
is.
We'll have a chef.
Okay, well, whoever he tells me I'm allowed to get catered,
Curtis
that's what
will
I'm
say the
doing.
chef's great.
Because then if
You
it's
can
not
use
good,
him,
then if
and
it's
then he
not
has to
good, I
stay out
don't
of
have
it.
responsibility. You know what I mean?
All
It's
right.
very stressful.
I'm
Please
adding them
invite
to
us.
our. We're having a.
You're
very,
always invited.
Having an eclectic.
We just always
dinner
invite you.
Party, apparently.
Because we don't like that many people. We
I know.
really
So
like
we're
you guys
collecting
so
people that we
much.
actually like. So you might pass. Okay.
Fingers crossed.
All right, we love you guys. Listen,
you
have
guys
the most
really
beautiful
should have your
holiday.
fingers crossed. You haven't been invited to a dinner party in a decade.
We haven't had
That's
one.
what I'm saying.
We haven't had one.
So
We haven't had one since we moved here. Actually, we did.
Probably be nice
they
with
were
us.
there at my birthday. That was our dinner party.
Yeah. And we delicious too.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Thanks for coming to that. By
Oof,
the way.
thank God.
So fun.
Happy
Future
holidays. We always want to leave you with a little highlight and low light from our week, because in relationships, the bad comes with the good. So this is our time to mention a little bit of both of those things. Okay, my highlight, I have two highlights.
You
which
don't
is
get
weird.
both, and because one of them is gonna be mine. So get off.
Okay,
of it.
I have two highlights. One is our children started a new school this year, and they just ended their first semester with the most beautiful report cards. I'm so incredibly proud of them. And, you know, they acclimated so quickly. This is just being a proud mom moment. And also that we are taking our children on a trip this holiday to see my family and have some quality time, and then have alone time with us as a family, which we haven't had like somewhere else but in LA in 2 years. And I'm just very, very excited. And the low light for me would be that I personally know maybe 100 people between New York, Florida, and LA that currently have COVID. And there's a massive surge in COVID. And it's just terrifying, because it just shows me that this is nowhere near over.
It also puts a little bit of a damper on the first highlight, which is going away. Because,
Correct. Now I'm going with major apprehension. Yes.
Yeah. So that's definitely a low light. I'm going to also have a highlight here with our children, or regarding our children. So our little son, Kais, that cutie patootie, in our school, at his school, they have flag line. And every kid, if they want, they could request to give a thought of the day. And our little son, Caius, felt that he wanted to give everyone a thought of the day. And he wrote it down and got permission to do it. And then this morning, he stood in front of the whole school and mumbled through his mask words that we really couldn't hear, but it was the thought of the day. And it was the cutest thing. And they're going to send around a video. And I'm so proud of him also. So I think kids being proud of our children is probably the highlight of just, the day of the year, because they're really just giving us so much joy. Low light for me, I think the low light for me is I just feel really tired and burnt out.
Yep.
I'm just
agreed.
And I think
Same.
that goes back to, I really need to shut down for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it this year. It's getting hard. So we hope that we can enjoy, energize, and come back after New Year.
And more importantly, we
Rock and
wish
roll.
all of you a happy, healthy, safe
holiday.
COVID-free holiday that you all deserve.
And let's all be friendly and nice to each other, because that will be amazing.
So wait, do you remember like a couple years ago when we were like, we really need some new friends in our mix. We really need some new people that we love and like excite us and like whatever. We had that like an inflection point. Remember that like 4 or 5 years ago?
Yes.
And I said, and you go, but Rachel, you hate new friends.
I go, you hate new people.
I know.
This makes no sense.
I know. And I said, but you know what? I'm going to make some new friends. And I actually really feel like I've done a really good job of making us some really good new friends.
Well, we love Curtis and Lindsay.
I just love them.
That might have been one of my favorite episodes.
You know
'cause
why? It's so
easy, and we
authentic.
could have just kept going.
It's just very authentic. They're very real. I also loved how candid they were about how different they are, and that they can go to the mat about their differences, but they've learned to kind of like...
Well, it sounds like they're still working on communication. And by the way, just so everyone knows, it's 30 years later, and I still can't talk to Rachel, apparently. So
That's
I
not
want
true.
everyone to know the
That's not true.
communication channels
You can't yell.
they always need work.
I like your sweatshirt.
Isn't it cute?
Yeah, he has a fleece lining on the side.
By the way, everyone
Very
loves
cute.
my, I can't, I'm not giving any plugs out here, but you can advertise on our podcast. Sorry.
Anyway, but they are a very dynamic couple, I think, without trying to be a dynamic couple. And I think, I don't know, I just love them. And they're incredible parents. Their children are absolutely incredible kids. And
I just love the energy.
If you have never...
I love the energy. You know, at the end of the day, there are people that, you know, just how they carry themselves is a very cool, like... You know, it's just a nice, it's like you want to just hang out with them and talk to them. And I think
agree.
they just put you at ease. I don't know. I just, it's for me, it's an energy thing. How they, you know, talk, how they talk to each other, how they talk to us. It's just
Fairly
a very,
respectful
very
of
nice.
each other.
They're just nice people.
I agree. And I do go back to my original theory. Great parents have great kids.
Oh yeah, their kids are amazing.
And so.
And I do want to invite them to our very special
Roger and I
party.
are curating a dinner party.
We are.
When COVID calms down
collecting
again.
lists.
Okay. If you like what you've heard so far, please make sure you're subscribed on Apple Podcasts and give us a great rating and review because we read them, and keep listening. And check us out on our Instagram at works.for.us.
We also want you to know that there's an exciting Works For Us phone line that you can call, leave us a message with your very own relationship stories. We are planning to share our favorites on the podcast. So again, if you want to share a message about your own relationship, we can maybe share it on our podcast. You can also ask for relationship advice, although clearly we don't know what we're talking about. But ask anyway, we'll try. If you want to share your story or ask us a question that we can't answer, please give us a call at 657-549-2251. Again, that's 657-549-2251. And as Rachel just mentioned, you could also contact us on our Instagram at works.for.us.